Welcome to a brand new Five Heart podcast, live and in living color on a Thursday night. I'm Greg Mahachko. That is Minnie Hunt. And in a weird turn of events, Minnie, you're in the future. Like usually you're in the past.
I'm a time traveler.
Yes, because you're usually 2 hours behind me, but now you're an hour ahead of me. And I'm not sure how to handle that. And I don't know what our Holger maniacs are going to think of this new situation.
This new setup, deal with it. That's all I have to say. I hope it's not too echoey.
Not on my end.
Okay, good.
So
I'm on vacation. If anyone's curious, why do I have a new setup? I'm on vacation.
That's what they're wondering.
But I'm
Kitchen
here with
Minnie,
you guys.
Living room Minnie. Pitt is here, obviously.
Hi,
Melissa's
Pitt.
Here. Good to see you back, Melissa. And Pitt agrees. And James Boardman is here with, I know these are special YouTube member emojis. I can't see them. They don't show up in the text on our screen. But of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you get to see those fun emojis as they are meant to be. So Fred's here, and he bets the Pit is curious. And Kaylee's here and bragging that Kaylee finally made the beginning of the show.
That's welcome, Kaylee. You know what I think is really interesting, Greg? Did you notice that Kaylee never changed the way that she spells her name? She still has a lowercase k.
I mean, I noticed it. I didn't understand the significance of it. Was she pressured into changing that? Or like
you mentioned it about a year ago. And
okay.
She's like, oh, I like it like that.
She dug her heels in. Aaron Keene is here, although he's just going by perpetually indignant at this point. So I think we said that Fred is here also. We did.
Fred's here, yes.
So
some
of the regulars are here, and we'll get more, we're sure, as we go on, because it's early in the show. I'll be honest with you.
Early.
If Kaylee's here this early in the show, that means that half of the regulars are going to be about 2 hours late. It's just the nature of podcast physics. Vince Watson says lowercase for the win. So there you go, Kaylee. You've got more supporters.
Vince, that's funny.
Vince is here all the way from Wyoming. So, all right, Minnie, how is vacation going?
Well, it's going really well.
Wonderful.
I am. Let's see. I'm on my 4th day, and still love my family.
That is always the trying. Vacations tend to test the love. So
it does, especially when you have 3 daughters that are teenagers and tweenagers. My youngest told me she was a tween. It was news to me.
Isn't she 10?
She's 11, going on 30.
I was off by 1. I think
that kind. Yeah.
Math gods will forgive me. Pollyjam is here, in bed but here, and Pollyjam had a really good comment on one of our YouTube shorts. Pollyjam wants more Mount Rushmore segments, so
okay,
we don't have any prepared for tonight, but next week I think we can make one of those happen. So
well, he has to be specific. Mount Rushmore of what? Like Five Heart Podcast Mount Rushmores? Greg Mahachko drinking Mount Rushmores? What kind?
Well, I sent this to you in a pre-production message, but the one that I'm particularly fond of is a Mount Rushmore of Husker moments / plays.
Oh.
The other one was Husker Mount Rushmore of Husker walk-ons. I feel like that'd be a lot of homework to find out who started as a walk-on. So I'm leaning more towards Husker moments or plays. So
okay, plays. Well, we all know. I mean, we could basically do that tonight if we wanted to.
I mean, I've got 4 in mind from 2024 alone. And they are all instances where Dylan slid 2 yards short of the marker.
No. Why do I fall for this every time?
Every time.
Oh my gosh.
Every time. So we'll see. Again, I want to do, as we talked in pre-production this week, my memory's not great. So I have to go back through my mental Rolodex and find some. I will establish parameters for myself, which are, it'd be great to say, the return or the Tommy Frazier run, but I'm restricting myself to only moments or plays since I have been an active fan, which is
I like that.
years. So
I think that's really important to keep in mind. I mean, Greg, we hear so much being a part of, we get to be a part of history in a way, because people are sharing with us so much of Husker history, and we get to talk about it and ooh and ah. But I think it's important when we're taking it on as the top plays to pull from our experiences. That way we can say why, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I being able to, again, add a little context. You made me stop reading everybody's descriptions or their justifications last week of why these. So, just a few little sentences of why. So I already, in my mind, I have half the Mount Rushmore of plays. Just, I take that back. No, I don't. No, I'll say 2. I've got half the Mount Rushmore. I've got the Mount. Wait, that's going to be misconstrued. Oh my goodness, where are we going tonight?
I can't even think off the top of my head that I have the beginning of a Mount. We'll have to think on this, but I would love to hear everybody else's.
So we'll keep that for next week. Again, next week's homework. Brett says, Greg's got the Mount Blue Chew kicked in. I was thinking about this earlier, and it's not – we'll save that for later. I'm going to start that. We'll circle back to Blue Chew down the road, which I can't believe we're doing. So, again, if you want to participate in this, if you want to have graphics available, then your Mount Rushmore of Husker moments or plays – send them to me via email by next Wednesday at hooch3600@gmail.com. So,
do you, Greg, and I asked you this before, do you think that it would be okay also if they just sent it, commented on the post?
They could.
The stream?
They could.
Okay.
You mean like this stream or next week's stream?
Well, either, because I check both. I just feel like the easier we make it on people, the more likely they are to contribute.
All right. So, okay. Well, that's Minnie's homework then. If you comment on this. So, but try not to do it until after the show so we don't get bogged down. See, so many parameters now. So don't do it. Come back after the show so that I'm not reading your next week's content for this week's show. That's my request. So that's why I say email. But what do I know?
Hey, Greg. What have you been up to this week? How was your Father's Day? Did you have a good Father's Day?
Father's Day was rocking. The boys were all over here. I got cool cards that the twins made at daycare, and I got some nice cards that Garrett had selected. And he had put, if I recall, he had done this at my mom and dad's. He had put from him on one card, and he had written from Rob and Matt on the other card. And he's like, and this one, he got a third one. And it was from all of them that he wrote all their names on. So
that is so sweet. He's such a good big brother. It sounds like
he is. He's a great one. And then they had a nice gift that they went in on, and it's actually, you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's a personalized Funko Pop that they got me. So,
wow.
little
Personalized.
Greg, yeah. Little Greg wearing I hesitate to say what it's called because of our comment section. But little Greg wearing a blue suit with a red tie, and he's holding a trophy, and he's got a goatee and doesn't have as much gray hair as I do. But
okay. You honestly have to show this to us. This sounds so cute.
All right.
Aw.
And by the way, that light was on about 15 minutes ago.
Well, we know you're cheap and don't buy the expensive batteries. So
that's right. I buy the Duracells. What was I thinking? So this is the Funko Pop Yourself. It's even got little glasses on him. Oh, he's tied in. I'm not gonna.
Okay, that's really cute.
So,
oh my gosh.
If I held this the rest of the show, you'd never know that it was the Funko Pop and not me. So
that is so darn cute. Oh, that's creative.
So yeah, we had a good time. Had a good week and watched a movie that at least one of the boys have been wanting to see. I put him to work outside, doing some yard work with me, and then we played a little wiffle ball. So it was nice.
So I can't, the way that, because I didn't pack everything that I have at home, so I only have my computer with me.
Mm-hmm.
At home, I have a screen where I can read comments if I can catch up, keep up with it. So I'm reading comments off of my phone. That's why I keep looking down. And so Fred says, Minnie would have had it be 90% more fat.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah.
Very true.
Pitt says
it's
the
a little
resemblance
too lean.
is uncanny.
It's a little too lean.
They actually, I think they do make a pudgy pop. I'm glad they didn't go with that one. I feel bad about myself most of the time as it is. Fred says, interesting how she finds that just on her phone. I'm telling you, she's always looking for the ones that really, needle me and make me feel better or worse about myself. So
it makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah. Let's see. Trojan Fight says, what's going on, Huskers and Minnie?
Hey.
So. I can't answer that question. It's not directed to me.
You're a Husker fan.
I'm the show host.
Greg is this Trojan Fight. This is Greg. Greg, this is Trojan Fight.
Who's Trojan Fight?
He's a friend from USC. He's a friend. He's my buddy.
Do we have
and Pitt's buddy?
From USC?
We have at least one, maybe two.
You know who was a great friend of USC is Lori Laughlin.
Yes, she was.
Aunt Becky.
I forgot about that. You're right.
I don't forget about college scandals.
I know. Me either.
Welcome, Trojan Fight. Welcome to the show. We apologize in advance. Wade's here, says, what time does the show start? 16 minutes.
It says it everywhere. It says it here on the bottom of the screen. It says it on the stream. It says it everywhere. How could you?
Well, I think because we're 16 minutes in and we haven't started talking Nebraska.
Oh. I get it. Okay. Moving on.
With that being said, we have some topics. Minnie, it's been a week of addition and subtraction for the University of Nebraska in the realm of recruiting. So what I would like to do is do this in as much chronological order as possible. And that begins with, I don't have any pictures because who's got that kind of time? But discussing the offensive line commit that Nebraska received. I believe it was on Monday. It was on Monday. How about that? Nebraska line. Wade gets it, or appreciates that I get it. Nebraska landed 4-star offensive tackle Hayden Ainsworth, and Hayden is from it's a 2026 class, and he is from Biloxi, Mississippi.
That's amazing.
Hayden clocks in
Mississippi?
at Biloxi, Mississippi. Yes, that's what I said. 6'5", 305 pounds, selecting Nebraska here in June over Alabama, Oklahoma, in-states, Ole Miss, and Florida State. We have a terrific – hey, look, most of you are here on YouTube because of John Dam Johnston and some of the post-game rants, etc. But you may not know that Core Nation is an actual website, and we have a tremendous staff of writers who, by and large, do this for the love of it. But one of our newer writers is James, and he has a nice write-up about Hayden Ainsworth. I'm just going to hit a few of the high notes here from James' article. I encourage you, bookmark, favorite, whatever it is, cornation.com, check it regularly. But here's what James says. At 6'5", 305 pounds, Ainsworth has the size, length, and athleticism you look for in a true Big Ten tackle, and Nebraska beat out some serious competition to land him. As we mentioned, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Florida State, all in pursuit, but the Huskers won out. A big-time get, both literally and figuratively. Ainsworth has a prototypical tackle frame and moves well for his size. He'll be expected to anchor the edge in a conference known for relentless pass rushers, and he looks like he'll be up to the task. Head coach Matt Rule and offensive line coach Donovan Raiola have made it clear they want to build from the trenches out, and this is the recruiting win that shows they mean it. So now last week we talked about Rex Waterman, who we kind of project, or at least early projections. I'm not going to say we. I don't claim to be that smart, but that Rex, I think, is a tackle at the high school level, but could potentially move inside to guard at the college level. That's a lot of beef that Nebraska has earned commitments from here in the last week. So
that is awesome. 300 and something pounds, huh?
Yeah, 305. James Boardman never misses the morning flakes. Awesome, James.
Wow, what dedication.
Nebraska Strong says maybe our Huskers can roll back the clock to 1995 and we can be O-line U again. So,
you know, what did Haas say on Monday? I caught parts of that show. I tried to catch most of it, but he said something about us being the best offensive line since 2006. Is that right?
He anticipates that the 2025 offensive line will be the best Husker offensive line since 06. Yes, that's and he went into detail. I'm not going to try to speak for Haas. I'm not that smart. But we encourage anybody to go back and rewatch. And I think that was towards the first half of the show. So, he had a lot of thoughts. We talked a lot about offensive line, in that episode. So, yeah, he optimistic about where this offensive line is heading. And a lot of it, Minnie, is some of the things that we have been talking about, and I'll credit you specifically because I kind of come in with more jaded, cynical mindset. But you've talked highly about Rocco Spindler and Elijah Pritchett, who were transfer portal acquisitions. I've been, better or right or wrong, I guess, leaning more on the homegrown talent like the Justin Evanses and things like that. So it seems like this blend for offensive linemen, of, I don't say new and old, but of career Huskers maybe and new Huskers could be what really sets the advantage for Nebraska in the offensive line ranks. So,
yeah, I think given where we were last year, where we found ourselves caught with a lot of injuries on the offensive line and we had to depend on guys without a ton of experience. Boy, do we make up for that this year. And yeah, I'm really excited. Really, really excited. I can't wait to see, especially the center, Justin Evans Jenkins. Justin Evans, excuse me. He took a ton of snaps last year. Didn't necessarily start every game, but I'm really, really excited to see what he does.
James says that our O-line depth is shaky. I don't know if it's quite as shaky as you may think, James, and I don't ever pretend to be an expert, but think of the names that we've mentioned in Pritchett, in Spindler, Evans. I know I'm missing some already. Lutovsky, Gunnar Gatula. We still have Prohaska. We still have Turner Corcoran. And there are other names as well that are escaping me right now.
Yes.
But we have a lot of, I would say, unproven depth, but realistically, most schools do. You get your horses that you ride until they graduate, transfer out, or get injured. But that's the whole point, is just to maintain a cohesive offensive line and keep that core group of 5 intact. So I don't know if the depth is necessarily as shaky as you're thinking. Kaylee says she wouldn't say shaky. She'd say young, maybe inexperienced.
Not a ton of snaps in all the different positions.
There we go. Grant Bricks.
Yes.
Sledge. So there are a lot of names, hopefully, to call up. So,
and I can't wait to see Grant Bricks. This is like one of the players that we were so excited to get. He was a true freshman last year. I think he redshirted, didn't he?
So,
and
Grant Bricks, you meant? Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can't wait to see him. I mean, this is the type of guy that is going to build with the program. I can't wait.
I love this comment from Pitt. Justin Evans personifies how we want to develop, especially along the line. He's a feather in Uncle Donnie's cap, a second or third rounder. And again, I didn't say it. I know Haas said it Monday, but I've heard it before, so I don't necessarily want to give all the credit to him. But in the Big Ten, on the offensive line, you want to get old and stay old, So this is, I think, Evans's third year receiving some significant playing time. So he's going to be a leader. I think we talked about that earlier in the offseason, or maybe heading into the bowl game. He's taking more of a vocal leadership role on that offensive line. Nebraska Strong, Go Big Red, says the X factor will be, can we cut down on offensive line penalties like false starts and holding? If we can do that, we can be great.
Why did he have to mention that?
It's a fair. It is what it is.
We do need to cut down on that. He's right.
But a lot of that's going to come from, again, experience, and
or she. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. So he or she is right.
Nebraska Strong is right. This is why. Never mind. I think with experience, you can start to do away with some of these mental errors, specifically false starts. False starts break my heart every time. I'd rather give up a holding than a false start. At least a holding means you're doing something in, between the whistles, not
right.
I can't handle another Jake Cotton falling down backwards in slow motion. That timber just drives me nuts.
It happens occasionally, but hopefully it doesn't happen too often.
Let's see.
I'm so excited about this season. I can't even tell you. Like, just talking about it. I talk about it. I mean, I'm sure most people do. Talk about Dylan and this year 2 jump that he's going to be taking as a sophomore, and just the weapons that he has around him. Greg, actually, I think you and I were talking about this recently. Right?
Sure.
Did you forget?
I think it got brought up last week.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
I can't remember. It was recently on a episode of a show that I was on. Let's just put it that way.
Gosh.
Minnie, I know you're not going to get specifics about where you are in the world, but the other Dave just loves the French pane windows.
Yes. Well, why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Up to you.
I'm here every summer, and it's my sister-in-law's beach house. She built this about 3 years ago. So I'm lucky enough to have a place to come and enjoy the beach and not kill my children.
That's the main point there. We want you to get home next week safely and say that no children were harmed on this vacation.
That's true. This is true.
Was it the ASPCA note, that disclaimer that usually arrives at the end of the credits of a movie or something? So,
and no animals were harmed during the filming of this movie.
No children were harmed on this vacation, despite the many
yet.
We're not talking quarterbacks, but Braska Rascal says that Greg is still hoping Heinrich Harburg will play quarterback again. You're damn right.
It's true. It's true. Hey, Scott, you and I know who the real deal is. Dylan. Dylan. He's making fun of you, Greg.
I don't think Braska Rascal would do that to me.
I do.
Also, I'm realizing now, look at this again. Braska Rascal has adopted Kaylee's capitalization techniques. Lowercase.
Everyone's doing that too.
Everybody should do that. Let's just drive Greg completely up the wall. So Kaylee says, honestly, because the recruiting feels balanced, even if we didn't have as good a year this year as we expect, I'd feel good about next year and so on. Well, funny you say that, Kaylee, because we had the good news of a couple of linemen committing to Nebraska. Then on the other side, we have the word that Nebraska has had a player who was a commit who has decommitted from the 2026 Nebraska recruiting class. That is a 4-star cornerback, CJ Bona. If I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I don't care. The 6'1", 175-pound cornerback from Winter Garden, Florida. He had been committed to the Nebraska Cornhuskers since November, but he told On3 recruits earlier this week that he is decommitted, and he currently has, this is wild, a total of 30 collegiate scholarship offers. 30.
Where?
I don't know. I didn't see the list. You want me? I'll get you the list. Hold on.
Yeah. Just give me like top 5.
All right. Give me a minute. I just need a minute.
Okay. 2020 what? 2026, you said?
Yeah. Oh, apparently he committed to Florida. So, but that list was Florida, Florida State, Nebraska, Arkansas, Baylor, Indiana, Kansas, Liberty. I don't know how the hell they snuck in there. Louisville, LSU, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Penn State. I'm thinking that these are now in alphabetical order, possibly. Syracuse, Tennessee, Tennessee State, Texas A&M, UCF, USF, Wake Forest, Wisconsin, and Clemson. I'm sorry, Clemson did not offer. They're the only one on that list that did not offer him a scholarship. So,
what is this? I just read Kaylee's comment that says, I'm looking forward to Greg Mahachko hosting the show next week. You host this show every week.
I think she's talking about Monday.
Oh. Kaylee? Explanation? Do
you remember?
Explain yourself, woman. What is going on here? I'm here. I'm on vacation, and I'm still here, and I will host next week.
I saw the lowercase G. That was not lost.
Oh, I get it. Okay. You're off the hook. Anytime you want to give Greg a hard time, it's okay by me.
I do not believe I have therapy. Look, everybody who watched Monday Night Therapy this past week knows that 9:00 apparently on a Monday is when my twins just decide to go ape shit, running around here, not staying in bed. It was a bit of a cluster Monday night between 9 up to say like 9:20. So
cute cluster.
Yeah, they're adorable.
Maybe you should let them host once in a while. They're adorable.
I don't know what kind of show that will be. Let's see. Here we go. Wait a minute. Nebraska Strong says, Minnie, Greg is going shirtless next week. That's not going to happen.
That would be.
Greg is going shirtless and assless chaps next week. Also, no.
This is a scary thought.
Nobody wants to see that.
We've seen his backside.
Stop
already.
It. That was an accident.
And we've seen him do lunges.
And
guys, you do know we can get him to do anything we want. Just all you have to do is like throw a super chat out there and just have a request.
Melissa's like, I'm not going to be here next week.
One of those Chippendales.
Kaylee says, makes me wonder what's in that glass of water. I mean, it is vacation. What are you drinking tonight, Minnie?
Oh yeah. I've already drank half a glass of wine.
That doesn't even look like a wine glass.
It isn't. I don't even know where the wine glass. I don't think there's wine glasses here, but there's wine.
Pitt says there isn't a camera built that can contrast Greg's snow white ass in the focus. Not gonna wear a Husker Speedo again. I'm saying no for your benefit.
I didn't even know there were Husker Speedos.
I'm not gonna Google it. I'm not gonna look.
Okay, how about a double dog dare? Triple dog dare.
No.
Double dare.
Again. By declining this challenge, I am doing all of you a favor. You don't know how much I care for all of you by declining turning this one down. Braska Rascal wants to know if I'm still drinking ski. I'm not. That's delicious ski. This is why I'm going to be more animated tonight. I am drinking the Harp. This is the one that I had before, the Harp Lager, from the same people, wonderful people who bring us Guinness. There we go. Product of Ireland, which I'm not sure is a very good Irish accent. And everybody will be happy to know only 4.5% alcohol by volume. So about half of what I was drinking a week ago.
Thank goodness.
It wasn't that bad. I don't think I was slurring my words or anything like that.
You're fine.
Cool.
You were fine.
Aaron Keene says, if Greg's lunges aren't on the Mount Rushmore of Mahachko, then I can't help you. I don't think they are.
Honestly, I do think we need to do a Mount Rushmore of Five Heart.
Melissa says, we would need real therapy if I did wear I'm guessing either the chaps or the Speedo. So you're not wrong. And I don't want, look, that's a therapy bill. That's all on you. Do not send those bills or those forms or those receipts to me. I'm not paying for your therapy. That's why I'm not doing it. End of story. Maybe. That's fun.
I'm just entertained over here. I'm like, what could we get him to do?
So, back on topic, we know that
I think he's open to suggestions.
CJ Brana is gone, but in that same article over on cornnation.com, by the way, cornnation.com, everything you need about Nebraska related, cornnation.com. They talked about Nebraska had a visitor this week who is from Anaheim, California, a 4-star tight end / athlete. He has already wrapped up his visit, so he's not going to be here this weekend. Luke Sorensen. Luke is 6'4", 250 pounds or 245, depending on which recruiting sites you look at. And he currently has offers from Nebraska, Ole Miss, Penn State, Wisconsin, Alabama, Arizona, Arizona State, Auburn. Yeah, okay. I'm making sure this isn't the same list I was reading before. Boston College, California, Colorado, Florida, LSU, Miami, Michigan, Michigan State, Missouri, Notre Dame, Oregon State, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, UCLA, UNLV, USC, and not Fresno State. Couldn't get an offer from Fresno State. He's in town. A lot of the projections have him selecting Nebraska. I look at, how, oftentimes when I'm looking at recruits and where they have other offers from. So he's got an offer from Nebraska. Nebraska currently has just 2 tight ends on the roster, according to 247 Sports. Ole Miss has 3. Penn State has 5. Alabama has 6. Wisconsin has 2. So, and 2 commits. So I always look at these numbers to say, you want to fast track your opportunity to possibly get on the field sooner. You're going to want to go where there aren't a lot of guys on the roster. And I believe Heinrich Harburg's a senior this year, with no other commits, in the recruiting class. How quick is a guy like Luke Sorensen going to get on the field at Nebraska versus, say, a Penn State where they have 5 tight ends on the roster? Everybody's going to be different. Again, the crystal ball does have him as a high 3-star or 4-star. What I like about Luke Sorensen is he has been formally endorsed by none other than Nebraska's 2027 quarterback commit, Trey Taylor. I think it's 27.
No, you're right.
So
2027. Because 2026 is
Dayton, right?
Is who? Dayton. Yes. Dayton.
27. Yeah.
Yep. You're right. Okay. So we're getting them lined up. Okay. I like it.
So, because I remember in seeing the tweet or whatever about Sorensen, Trey Taylor commented something, it only had whatever had it as a 3-star, and Trey says something like 3-star, yeah, right, or something like that. So I at least interpreted that as he's got more faith in this guy than the recruiting sites, and wants to have him on campus as a teammate in Lincoln. So I was very encouraged by that. I thought that was
well, I really think that quarterbacks should be recruiters.
And it seems like I see Trey Taylor doing it a lot more than, and this is not to poke the bear. This is not to criticize, but I don't see Dayton doing a whole lot of that, like social media recruit. I may be wrong. I'm just not seeing it. But it's nice to have, one every few years. Dayton may not have to, because Dylan is, and I'll say this, all joking aside about Dylan, Dylan's a fantastic ambassador for the program, right? So Dayton may not have to be the rah-rah, can't wait to get you on, see you on campus.
Let me ask, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If Dayton were to start recruiting guys, would it feel like, or would it look like competition against his brother? You know what I'm saying? You have the family tie there. So I think you've got to just take that into consideration. Do you have a brother?
Do I?
Yeah.
Not by blood.
Okay. You have a brother by another means?
No, I've got my longtime best friend. I would consider like my brother, but he's not.
Yeah.
Like, we're not.
And you never want to take away from that.
Yeah.
From him.
Well, that's what I mean.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I kind of give Dayton a pass, because I don't think he necessarily needs to, step on Big Brother's toes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're saying the same thing.
Are we saying the same thing?
I think so. Like, we're not concerned that Dayton's not necessarily tweeting or whatever at other players.
Correct.
Because Dylan's doing a lot of that heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning, and when it's his time, he'll come into that role.
You would think.
He will.
You'd hope.
Stop.
Pitt, that's right. Pitt and I have a birthday coming up in a few weeks.
You do. How old are you going to be?
Me or Pitt?
Both of you.
I'm going to be 43.
Oh, you're so old.
I know, right? I can't help it. That's how math works in years and age.
Kidding.
There was something else. So yeah, Trojan had this question up earlier. I tagged it because I was going to talk about it, and then we talked about CJ Brown and didn't highlight this comment. So yes, Trojan fight. The Huskers did lose a recruit recently, as CJ flipped to Florida. So sorry about that. Mm-hmm. And then Vince similarly says, I don't get excited about commits till the paper is signed, and even then they can still transfer again, which is
same
what we saw with CJ. So
same. Except if it's an offensive lineman. Sorry. Cutting you off. If it's an offensive lineman, I mean, come on. They really don't. I don't think they decommit very often.
I mean,
you have to work that relationship.
Lineman?
Yeah, because it's more about the relationship and development. You can't. I mean, Greg. Last week when we were talking about Rex Waterman, you're like, well, maybe we get some guys. No offense. I'm not trying to be offensive to you, but we could get an offensive lineman that could be plug and play. And I'm like, not as a freshman. That just doesn't happen.
No, those we've had to, I mean, Bryce Benhart obviously
True.
Had more starts than anybody in Nebraska history. But yeah, that's not a good position to just throw somebody in as a true freshman.
You don't want to.
They have to be next level, freakishly talented. And even then, I think it's still risky.
It's so risky. You're right. It's such a different level, high school to college. So especially the Big Ten.
And I do think that's what gives me pause when I watch a lot of these huddle videos and things like that for high school kids. Is you're right. You are putting up a fantastic highlight reel against kids who are mostly not going to be playing college or college football. They're not most kids in high school are not playing football after their senior year, right? So it's easy to, I think, in a lot of ways, put up numbers against that. It gets more difficult to dominate at the next level. And similarly, the number of college football players, and then there's only a finite number of NFL players. So, eventually the wheat gets separated from the chaff, right? So we just have this, this progression of talent, and then the less talented fall by the wayside. So.
Okay, I agree. I like Mark's comment, his last one, that I can.
Even my highlight reel looks good.
I wonder if I could put together a highlight reel. Football highlight reel.
I don't know what other highlight reel there'd be. I don't have a highlight reel. I used to. When I was doing terrestrial radio, I'd have highlights and play-by-play and things like that. But that was long ago.
Speaking of play-by-play, you mentioned to me that there's something coming up that we may have found someone to do our play-by-plays, right?
How about that? What a wonderful segue, Minnie. Yes, this is an article from yesterday, and this is from SI.com, and it says that sources have indicated that Nebraska is closing in on its next football play-by-play announcer. This is a Josh Peterson article. The new voice of the Huskers is an unfamiliar name for the majority of Husker fans. And the reason being, he's not from the Midwest. But it is, sources tell Husker Max, and Husker Max is one of those legendary Husker boards, I guess, Husker outlets, that Kyle Crooks is the favorite to be announced as the next voice of the Huskers. Of course, if that, is in fact the case, somebody's going to be taking the place, taking over for Greg Sharp, who we all know lost his battle with pancreatic cancer back in February. I did not realize the extent of Sharp's tenure, but he had been the voice of Husker football since 2007. Crooks has been with the Florida Gators for close to a decade, providing play-by-play for Gators women's basketball, softball, and soccer. He's done some fill-in for men's basketball and baseball, and has had a role in the network's pregame football show. So he graduated from William Paterson University, May of 2014. So he's a youngin'. The number of applicants, Minnie, do you want to guess how many people applied to be the voice of the Huskers?
5,000-ish.
Over 300.
That's it?
That's a lot.
Greg, did you apply?
No, I did not. First of all, I didn't even know I could. Secondly, I got these kids here in Illinois, and I feel like that'd be, it'd be difficult. So, no, I didn't. I'm out of the game for a little too long. We're in 2025. I haven't called a live sporting event since February of 2014. So on the radio.
Sorry to hear that.
Life happens. You move on. Trust me, there's no money in small town radio. You do it for the love of it. And when the love was
not reciprocated.
Yeah, pretty much. When we'll just go with that. Then you got to move on. So the voice of college football, aka Mark, says, I had Greg Sharp on the show once. He was so gracious, kind, and an amazing interview.
I have to look that up.
And Fred says, I haven't applied myself to anything since junior high. Mom always said that if I'd apply myself, I could have straight A's. But here's the thing, Fred. If I would have had straight A's, I probably would have done something different with my life altogether, and I wouldn't be doing this show right now. So you're welcome.
There you go. Yes, you are welcome. See, it pays off, people.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. 300 is a lot. And Mark says, I would think most wouldn't even think they are qualified. So
that's true. I wouldn't ever even consider. Wonder if they had any female. Okay, we're not going to go there. Let's get on this kick. I just can't wait to see a female doing something with football.
They do.
I mean, we have Dr. Elsa. Yeah. No, I know. It's just more.
I mean, there's I think it's ESPN, one of ESPN's. I'm forgiving. It's Beth something. But they're out there.
Play calling?
Yeah.
Like football?
Yes.
Oh. Tell me more.
I'm looking.
I didn't know that.
Beth, I believe I'm probably going to mispronounce it. It's Mowins or Mowins, Mowins. Play-by-play announcer for ESPN, known for her work in college football, college basketball, women's college World Series. She was the first woman to call a nationally televised NFL game and is also a commentator for NFL on CBS. She in college football, and this is the Google AI overview thing. She's the only female play-by-play announcer on ESPN, but she's been calling college football games for ESPN since 2005. So it's not like this is something new.
Oh, she must be really good.
She's on there.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard her?
I have.
And?
The voice of college football says, Beth Mowins, and my mom always taught me that if I don't have anything nice to say, ...
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much. I'll look into that.
Look at that. We have other youngsters affiliated with the show. The other Dave says, my baby Sadie Mae listening as a calming voice as I put her down. My other two are with mom picking up Taco Bell. So we are the calming voice.
Wait. The other two are David Timothy and what was the other? Maddie, I want to say Maddie Lou, but could that be right? I know it's Maddie. And now we have Sadie Mae. I love his kids' names. They're so cute.
I'm just trying to figure out how this is calming. Davy, Tim, and Maddie Lou.
Okay, I got it right. Such cute names. Sadie Mae. Do you have kids there? What do you hear?
Sound like I heard fireworks or something in the neighborhood. Like we're a little early for that. So I apologize to little Miss Sadie Mae because I don't know how this is calming for anybody.
She's growing up to be a Husker fan. That's how.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Kyle Crooks. That's where the name I was looking for.
Well, that's cool.
The gig, by the way, it's not just calling the games. Candidates were told the role with the Huskers radio network would require hosting sports nightly, announcing football and baseball, and other duties like speaking engagements. So,
yeah.
Although
I do like sports nightly.
I'll be honest.
Although I feel like, go ahead.
No, you please, ladies first.
No, especially after that, gentlemen first.
I was gonna say, and this is all I was gonna say. Of the two of us, one of us has been on Sports Nightly a few times.
That's what you were going to say. And I let you go first.
I didn't want to.
That was such a jerk thing to say.
It was 20 years ago. Does that make you feel any better?
All right. Tell us more, Greg. Go.
No, it's a worthless story. Nobody wants to hear. Go on. Whatever you're going to say. Let's see. The other Dave says Sadie Mae just fell asleep. Awesome. And Kaylee says this is not calming, it's educational. I don't know about that either, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. At least you're not fat shaming me.
All right. What else, Greg?
You tell me. I interrupted you and I feel bad about it.
You should, especially after that. No. Honestly, all I was going to say is I do enjoy Sports Nightly. That's it. Because they do get regularly the AD once a month and head coaches as well as players. So I love to hear what they have to say. Although sometimes, obviously, because it's representing the university, they can't divulge very much information. Like that one time, remember when I told you about Terrence Knighton, our old DL, defensive lineman coach,
right?
How he was kind of like throwing other coaches under the bus, and they deleted it afterwards because I went back to take notes and I'm like, he's kind of saying a whole lot. Well, they won't let that out.
No. Yeah, which, a lot of that, I think, is you got to protect the brand, and some of that is proprietary information. So you get the one shot at it, and I guess if you didn't record it, which, what I recall of being when I was in radio up in Nebraska was, as a Husker affiliate, we could, we aired Sports Nightly. Then they had audio, clips that we could, sound bites, that's the word, that we could use. But if it was something that was divulging too much, you weren't going to get access to that, and they'd pull the recording. I mean, this is, I think, probably before the big archive, so they'd pull that section or edit that part out. So it all makes sense. You got to protect the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that Luke Sorensen was in town. Another player who is expected in Nebraska this weekend is another offensive tackle. He's a right tackle, 4-star right tackle, Javion Cooper. Assuming that
4-star.
Right.
What year? What year?
2026.
Oh.
And he is currently committed to Syracuse, but he's still out there visiting. He was in Colorado yesterday in Boulder, and again, he's expected to be in Lincoln. Today or tomorrow for the weekend. And somebody said there's something in here about like can't wait till they flip. Him and Cameron Wilson, who is an edge rusher, and I believe also a Syracuse commit. So I think there might be some inroads, some attempts to, if you get one to flip, you might be able to flip both of them. So that'd be nice. It'd be nice to have a 4-star edge rusher.
That'd be really nice. Yeah, that would set us up. Whatever we can get in that area, 4-star and above, I'll take it.
So that's what I know about what do we call it, on the recruiting trail this week. And we bounced around a little bit, but that is the nature of the show. Minnie, I know you have something fun planned, but before we get there, Pitt has this question from very early on in the show. I'm going to throw an early question in for the panel. Thanks, Pitt. Why didn't Dayton participate in the Elite 11 this year?
Well, I'll tell you. Unfortunately, Dayton just had his first year of high school play just last season, because obviously he's always played with his brother. So he's been on JV or just backup. And last season was his first year as the starting quarterback for Buford High School. And his numbers, I mean, if you look at him, because I watched all his games, if you look at how he started, it was rough. Commanding an offense is tough for the first time. And he grew throughout the season. I mean, he got pretty good. So, and he's just continuing to grow. So I'm looking forward to what he does this season in Buford.
Would it safe to say, and I'm going to phrase this in a way, Fred's very Fred about it. But Fred says because Dayton is an elite. But realistically, what is on film right now wouldn't necessarily indicate that the elite invitation was yet to come. And I would also think that the Elite 11 is probably reserved more for upperclassmen.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, let's keep our sights high and just think that, okay, he'll probably get an invitation this season.
Yeah. And Kaylee says, similarly, he has promised, but the Elite 11 is for the guys that are proven. So, like you said, Dayton was a freshman last year, right?
Sophomore.
Okay. But 1 year.
Well, no. It was his first year starting.
Okay.
First year starting.
mean, he's class of 2027. So, yeah, okay.
2026. So he is, right? How does that work out?
Yeah.
Is he a sophomore? He was a sophomore.
If he's class of 26, he would have been a junior last year.
There you go. Seriously, he hadn't started. His brother had always started.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay.
They were always at the same high school.
Forgive me, Holger Maniacs. Just forgive me. I got confused. Had an elder moment. I apologize. And
Greg, you're not even 43 yet.
Doesn't mean my brain's not older.
I don't think you can claim that elderly moment. You have to wait till you're 40. Okay. Really? When?
Yeah. 8th grade. When my brain was still developing. You say why?
How?
So this is a fun story.
No, anytime you have to preface anything with this is a fun story, it's not.
So
it's not.
8th grade basketball, school basketball practice. We're running drills up and down the court, and a shot went up, and everybody's going up for the layup, and I'm the rebound, and I'm one of those going up for the rebound. And one of my teammates turned around and punched me right here, and legit knocked the wind out of me. And I'm like supposed to be running down the court, and I'm kind of stumbling down the court, and I get 10 feet in front of the coach, and this is like on a older gym, so it's tile, and I'm standing there, and like he says, like a piece of wood, flat back, but by my head on the tile. I was unconscious. So, but it was a developing mind, so you have to forgive my brain.
I have to know, why did your teammate do that?
I asked him about that later. He says, well, you elbowed me in the head on the rebound. I was like, I can't jump that high. Like, this was the star player of the team. I was like, I couldn't jump that high to elbow you in the head on the rebound. I just think he got hit, saw me, easy target, punched me right in the chest. Legit knocked me.
I kind of feel like it's something I might do to you if we were playing basketball. I just wanted to know why he did it.
Yeah, but I'm like a lot taller than you, so you'd never get a rebound.
That's why I'd punch you right there. Take that. And you'd fall just like.
Fred says, and Minnie's like, did Greg's gut prevent him from taking too much damage? That was not the gut that it is now, Fred. Thanks for bringing that up.
Greg.
Let's
it's
see.
Okay.
With my birthday here in a couple of weeks, Blaine says, enjoy your youth, Greg. The other Dave says, we're the same age, Greg. And Melissa has a birthday in 6 days. So happy early birthday, Melissa.
Happy birthday, Melissa. Greg, one thing I found out recently about Greg, I just found this out.
I'm so scared. Where are you going with this?
I mean, we kind of thought, and I've asked you before if you sing, and you've always like kind of skirted the issue and been like, I mean, you can sing happy birthday.
I was gonna just tell Melissa right now that since this is Thursday and there's a show on Monday, I was like, Melissa, if you hang around the show on Monday, I bet you Minnie will sing you happy birthday.
You don't. She doesn't want me to sing her happy birthday. I know Melissa. I know her. We're best friends, and she would love it if you sang her happy birthday.
Pitt says, Greg can sing. We've covered this.
No, really sing. Like, truly, he can sing. Like, sing.
Josh says, by the way, welcome to the show, Josh. You're late, but what else is new? Alls I know is it's too damn hot to mow. Ridiculous.
I like how he says ridiculous.
I was going to say, you liked it. I was ashamed for Josh. I thought he was smarter than that.
No, because why else?
He's from.
Whenever possible, you're going to use the word red.
Not for ridiculous.
Whenever possible. I like it.
Don't double down on that shit, Josh. Shame on you. I do believe that Pitt has imagined that we've talked about being in quartets and swing choirs. I was never in swing choir or a quartet. Never.
Not here.
Drinking.
Wrong person.
All right, stick around for the end of the show and maybe
That'd be interesting. Greg in a barbershop quartet.
That'd be awesome. But I'd probably have.
He's like 100 years old. He wants to be in a barbershop quartet.
Josh says that's because Greg can sing, but he can't swing. Thanks, Josh. Josh knows my singing capabilities because for almost we were almost in a band together. So like a cover band. Yeah, we don't need to get into that. That's another story. That's not my story to tell. But through that experience, I got to become great friends with Josh.
You have my word on this. I promise we will get to the bottom of this. Okay? I promise you.
It's not necessary. So stick around to the end of the show and maybe, just maybe, I'll sing happy birthday to Melissa. Maybe. Let's see. Oh,
I'll be your backup dancer. I'll be like,
Lord. Yeah, so let's go back to this one from earlier. Greg's got that Mount Blue Chew kicked in. I had this thought earlier tonight. Now, I don't think about Blue Chew that much, but I was thinking about the show, and I was thinking about there's got to be a better, more natural way to do this. 5 Heart, right? 5 Heart, we've established the origins of the name of this show and how it's the effort guys, the guys who lay it all on the line every time, maximum effort.
Where are we going with this?
I'm just thinking that Blue Chew could be what makes your 5 hard, if you know what I mean.
Greg, you haven't even had hardly anything to drink, and this is seriously what you're going to say?
This is we haven't had anything to drink.
Oh my gosh. You're asking for trouble.
How?
It's going to come knocking on your door.
Not 5, not Blue Chew. All right. I guess that's the end of that. Moving on. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
Haley does want to know, would it be more acceptable if I had more to drink?
Yeah. It actually would. Then I could blame it on that. Jeez. Okay. How about we play my game?
Okay, everybody get ready to be offended.
Okay, guys. Honestly, I thought about this and I was like, I don't think you guys will be offended by this.
Let me put it this way.
Greg.
No.
Are you offended?
If you are a redneck, don't answer that question. I don't need a show of hands. But if you be like, yeah, no, I have some redneck tendencies. Do you get offended when Jeff Foxworthy makes a little joke, be like, you might be a redneck?
I'm not. It's not jokes. It's not even jokes. I'm not even saying
feels
jokes.
Like it's jokes.
I'm not. No. This is just my observation. Okay. And you can say in the chat whether or not these things you agree with. Okay. I'm not trying to offend anyone. Just FYI.
Minnie, you don't have to read it out loud. I just want you to read this and react.
I don't even get it. I have no idea what that means. So even if I read it, I wouldn't understand it.
Because Dylan slides 2 yards short.
Okay.
Sorry. We're not making jokes.
One doesn't have anything to do with the other. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, guys. The reason I started thinking about this is because I was like, let me just preface this. Am I blurry?
This would be like, I need 18 disclaimers for this bit.
Okay. No. It's just that you do know I enjoy a lot a good Greg joke. Okay. That's the reason why I read the comments afterwards. So I take screenshots of all the Greg jokes.
By the way, if you don't know, what she's talking about specifically is all the time you turds make fun of me.
Yeah.
She goes back and then she, screenshots them and shares them with me. So thank you.
Especially all the times, when Kaylee says you have a big head and that it's like snipers are salivating and things like that. It makes me laugh so much. We're gonna get it now. Okay. So because I find that enjoyable, I think other people do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've noticed there's certain, because I get to talk to you outside of the show, there's certain things that you do or have done that are definitely out of the norm. You would not necessarily fit in to where I live.
Polite society.
That's all it is. Okay, so it's fun. It's not necessarily making fun of the chat. It's more aimed towards you. Okay.
Oh, great. So you may be a jackass named Greg if ...
Okay.
That's where this is headed.
No. So, and I okayed this game through you before I came up with it. I said, would you think it's okay if I say these things?
In my defense, I thought it was going to be more general and not Greg specific. So.
Well, it's very Greg specific. I think you check every single one of these.
All right, everybody, buckle up. I apologize in advance if any of my disturbing Midwesternness bleeds on any of you. Remember, this is all just about Greg.
But you may relate, and that's okay. If you relate to Greg, that's perfect. You're in the right place. Okay, so you might be a Midwesterner if you own more than one recliner.
Yep, got one upstairs and downstairs. Wait. Here's the thing. I want the comments. By the way, Kaylee says aim towards you. Very appropriate given the sniper talk. If this also applies to you, let me know in the comments so that I'm not. So that I don't. I want to feel better about myself. Boom. Ken E has 2. Thanks, Ken E. Fred has 0 recliners. Well,
I knew it. I knew Fred was out.
And a rocking chair. Wait, hold on. Dustin says, who the hell doesn't own more than one? Thank you, Dustin.
Oh my gosh, that makes my side hurt so bad when I laugh.
Josh says they have one in the living room, one in the theater room, and one for reading / rocking in the kids' room. Perfect. Vince has 2. And couches have 4 built into 2 couches. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. The double recliner. Josh has the Steiner recliner. Very few people are going to get that, but I know it and I appreciate it. Hoff has 1 recliner in the nursery.
Of course. Just in case. Okay.
This is great. James says, go ahead and make fun of Midwesterners, Nebraska's in the Great Plains. That's some good geography for you. Thanks, James.
Okay. You might be a Midwesterner if your mom's favorite desserts were made with whipped cream.
That one does not apply.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
Nope.
Yes, it does. Yes. Greg, what did your mom just recently send home with you that you told me about? Oreo?
The Oreo lasagna, but that's not a favorite. That was just here, we made this. Try this. Take this home. We think
what was in it? What was in it? Oreos and whipped cream.
Yeah, whipped cream. That being said, though, Boston cream pie is... that's a great question. Hold on. No, I can't call her after 10 o'clock. If I call her now, she'll be like, who died?
She would be like, honey, you need a recipe for a dessert? I got you covered. Get
She would.
some whipped cream.
Dustin says, is there any other way to enjoy pumpkin pie? Kaylee says pumpkin pie with whipped cream. So,
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yours is more of a topping.
find
yours is more of like an ingredient. I understand it.
I find that there's a lot of desserts made with whipped cream. That are specific to the Midwest.
All right, I got to do this. I got to give this one it's appropriate. Ken E. Pecan. That's lost you. That's good? Star Trek, the movie. Actually, it might be Star Trek 2.
Okay. I did not get it. That was good. If one of your favorite restaurants has the word big or fat in it.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think that applies to me.
Big or fat? Greg. What's that wing place that you went to?
Gio's?
Was that it?
Yeah, there's no big or fat in there.
Okay. Well,
Beastcraft Barbecue, Benny's Pizza Pub. Those are my favorite restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dustin and I are of one mind tonight.
Okay, good. All right. Well, how about this one? If you've never bought anything other than white bread.
I buy wheat bread actually honey wheat.
Greg.
What?
Honey wheat?
Yeah. Bunny bread. That's what I said. The boys like it. If I can get them to eat a sandwich.
This is not what you've told me. You've told me that you made them sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly on white bread.
No. I couldn't tell you last time I had white bread.
Okay. How about this? If you bring a casserole to an office meeting.
I don't do that. I bring pork steaks.
You have brought your mother's casserole.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, your mom made a casserole. No, your mom made a casserole. Everybody loved it, and you had to fess up.
I thought that was a dessert. I can't remember.
With whipped cream.
You remember more aspects of my life than I do.
Because it's my job. If the only kind of skiing you have done is water skiing.
I've never even done that.
Okay. Or know about.
I just drink ski.
Okay. If
I'm
you
not
are
opposed to regular skiing, I just know it'll be painful when I fall down a mountain.
Okay. If you think fish on a menu is just for foreigners.
I don't think you're allowed to call them foreigners.
Do you ever order fish?
Yes. When I go to a fish fry.
Okay. If you've used the word hogwash this week.
Guilty.
That's all. There you go.
Ken E says you might be from the Midwest if you've had a funnel cake at the fair. Also guilty. BFOTS Josh Hansen says, I didn't hear that one. Are we talking about the band Foreigner? Possibly. And I love Fred's comment here. Undocumented fish eaters. Yeah, no, I'm not a seafood or shellfish guy. I will.
Land animals only.
No, I will put a hurting on a fish fry. But that's like, cod or whitefish or something like that. So.
Whitefish. That's not a fish. A whitefish.
No, whitefish like bass or bluegill. like I've caught fish, and with the help of my grandpa, because I was 10 years old, fillet the fish and then fry the fish and eat the fish all in one day. So.
Okay. Good to know.
But I'm not like
taking notes.
I'm not a sushi. I'm not going to go and order a tuna steak. Like I'll eat a beef steak. Yeah. Of the hoof, if possible. So pork steak.
One of the only reasons why I say yes to a vacation at the beach. Well, I like the sun, but also it's a chance to eat fish. Fresh fish is the best.
Josh says, I love sushi, but I'm allergic. Every time I eat more than 80 pieces, I throw up. Ken E says, you might be from the Midwest if you drown ribs in sauce. It's another shameful. I don't need to put a whole lot of sauce on my ribs. So, Dustin says that the funnel cakes keep his type 5 diabetes in check. There are two ways to pronounce diabetes. There's diabetes and diabetes, and diptis is not one that I had in my pronunciation guide. Nebraska Strong says you might be from the Midwest if you love corn on the cob with any meal.
Who doesn't?
I can do corn on the
cob.
cob.
Corn on the cob is excellent.
Fred says, Minnie says bullshit. You can't even find your ribs, Greg. They're right here. They're right here under the fatty portion.
Greg, when was the last time you saw a rib bone? Other than
like of mine?
Never mind. Yes.
I can feel it. Does that count?
Sure.
Husker Chuck made it. Late.
Yay.
He didn't say the usual. I'm late. What I miss, so we can't fill him in on the rest of the show.
Welcome, though.
Vince's. I'm assuming ribs are in the fridge marinating for this weekend. I marinated some and grilled some chicken wings on Father's Day, so that was a lot of fun.
Ah.
So then I ate them all because I knew my kids weren't going to eat any ribs. Wings. What the hell am I talking about? Fred says Greg is Minnie's Voltron amalgamation of the chat. Yep. All
what
the
Voltron amalgamation. Amalgamation.
Voltron. Do you remember Voltron from the 1980s? It's a cartoon, kids like an adventure cartoon, like Thundercats or He-Man, Master of the Universe.
I loved He-Man.
So Voltron was 5 lion space robots that formed into one robot, space robot, and fought defender of the universe. So what Fred is saying is that I am like the chat, like the amalgamation of the chat all combined, and you're just directing all of your attention of the chat at me, all of your stereotypes and things like that. That's my interpretation. Fred, if I'm wrong,
I kind of agree. That's fair.
But Pitt says, Greg's the man. I bet you this won't get screenshotted and saved for later. I ain't messing with him just to be different. I prefer flipping shit at Miss Pretty Privilege just to keep things balanced.
Pitt. Pitt. I call you friend.
Roger says, 28 watching, just 14 likes. That's right. Now would be a great time to remind you, if you haven't already, to like this video if you're on YouTube, and subscribe to the Coronation YouTube channel. Ring that bell for notifications so that you never miss new content. And in the course of a few hours today, leading up to tonight's show, I dropped 2 shorts reminding you about now, Fred, 2 short videos. I didn't drop shorts. Reminding you about tonight's episode. So I know some of you liked that or saw that. And again, Polly Jam with the great idea. So I think Next week, we will do Husker plays / moments, or Mount Rushmore of Husker plays / moments.
I do love that.
Hey,
Greg.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
I feel kind of bad that I was like dissing you a little bit.
No, you don't.
In person. If you have anything you wanted to say about people from Arizona, you can say it to me.
No, I'm not like that.
Okay.
I'm not negative.
Okay. Negative. You think I'm negative? Really? Oh.
No, I just, I don't stereotype people. Or lump people into stereotypes. Melissa? Melissa says they're stuck up.
Thanks, Melissa, my BFF. Jeez.
Let's see. Kenny reminds me that there are 2 versions of Voltron, the one with the 5 lions and the other with vehicles. I'm not going to lie. The 5 lions is the only one that I'm familiar with.
I don't even know any of them. I'm so surprised.
Well, I don't know if you were watching a lot of action adventure cartoons in the 1980s outside of He-Man.
Of course I was.
Oh, okay. Well, I bet if you did a Google or YouTube search just for the introduction, like the intro credit, whatever, for Voltron, I'd be like, oh, I remember that now.
Okay. I'll do that.
Kaylee says, wow, I didn't wait to shoot. I think she's talking about Melissa's,
stuck up.
Fred says, the one native Arizonan I met offered me Tanqueray and weed at our hotel. So there's that.
There's always that. Hey, Tanqueray, I know that's an alcohol. I don't know what kind. But the weed portion I know is legal. Because you guys know, I did try some edibles recently. Tried it.
All right. How much more? Question for you, Minnie, and I guess equally important to the chat. I don't have anything else to discuss tonight except for just the camaraderie and the fellowship here with all of you wonderful people. Am I cracking open another beer, or are we about done?
I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
Unless Melissa wants to call me stuck up some more.
No. Speaking of beer, Haas says, Greg, how many Yuengling beers would you drink if we won a natty? Over-under set at 14.5. I would take the over. Because wherever I would be celebrating, I would not be driving, and I'll just fall down somewhere. Let's face it, given current financial situation, I'll probably be watching it here at home. So I'll just fall asleep in my chair downstairs, one of my 2 recliners. Yeah, national championships always on a Monday, so the boys would be here. So I'll probably have to suddenly they'd be like waking up, coming downstairs, poking me, Dad. Can you get this
so
ready?
It's in January. It's in January. Greg, here's the great thing. It's in January, so you could always say it's a snow day.
What if it doesn't snow?
They won't know the difference. They're young. Go back to bed, boys. It's a snow day.
Speaking of bed, Fred's about to go to bed, so he wants me to stop drinking.
There you go.
I like how my drinking is affecting what other people do. So now, those of you who don't remember, and I don't expect you to because this is before we were ever doing the show on YouTube, but there was a time, I guess, in the off season heading into the 2018 campaign, that Haas and I, when we were doing the show on the 5 Hard, said, get ready, 2021 national championships. We'll see you down in, was it New Orleans? Obviously that didn't materialize. So I'm wondering if this Crackham, Greg, is Haas optimistic about where we may be heading in the not too distant future.
Oh, I love that. And it's also probably Haas rocking Lane to sleep in his recliner
in
the
the
nursery.
Probably not if Nebraska's in the national championship. I think Miss Katie
You
might
think
be.
he'll be there?
No, I don't know about be there, but I think Katie be the one rocking Lane to sleep. He was telling me to crack open another beer, so not quite as optimistic as I thought. So, Kaylee's got a hot take. We had talked about Heinrich Haarberg earlier and how he bulked up in last week's show. So the hot take is if he has a good season, I could see him getting drafted higher than Dylan.
This is funny.
You hate Heinrich Haarberg so much.
No, I love him. I do. I love him.
You just don't want him to succeed.
I do. No, I really, really do.
Nebraska Strong agrees, but it says, especially if we see Heinrich play some safety. Now, I don't know if that's in the cards. I haven't heard
Probably
anything.
interesting.
But we know he's physical. We know he has good hands. We know he can catch the ball. We know he's got some good athleticism. Obviously, he willed Nebraska to 5 victories in 2023.
He did. Yep.
And so it would, I don't know, depending on how his season goes, I'd probably project him at best like 5th round. Because I think limited sample size, right? Like he didn't really play a whole lot of tight end last year. The year before that, he was the best quarterback. So I don't know. I'll call it limited sample size, but that's somebody, there's another team out there that might say, oh, well, he's talented but raw and he doesn't have a ton of bad habits. So let's, draft him, clean up the bad habits and turn him into a beast. I don't know.
I forget who was it that who drafted Thomas Fidone? Do you remember? Was it the Colts?
I don't think so, but now I'm double checking.
What
Giants.
round? I forget. Oh, the Giants. That's right.
He was 7th round, 219th overall pick.
Okay.
So
if he has a good season, if Heinrich Haarberg has a good season, I definitely think he'll go higher than Thomas Fidone. And possibly even higher than Ty Robinson. Could he go higher than the 5th round?
I don't know. Only time will tell. I mean, we got to get more work. We got to see more from him. He has to have more opportunities.
He's been putting on tons of weight, and that's muscle. When you hear him talk, he's very the thing about being a tight end is he wasn't as secure blocking. He had to really grow into that. So it'll be interesting to watch him in a game.
Jimmy McNutty says 2029, Heinrich Haarberg starting at tight end for the Chiefs, and Dylan is starting his day as branch manager of Enterprise Rent-A-Car at Epley Airport.
Jimmy McNutty.
And Kaylee says, I see how the draft went this last couple of years. The amazing quarterbacks dropped all the way down to the 5th and 6th round. Heinrich could definitely get 5th round or higher if the offense is solid. So a lot of that's going to depend on Dylan. It's the downside, I think, of being a wide receiver is your success is going to be tied to the quality of the quarterback that you have. The number of opportunities. It's different than being a running back. If you're the main running back and you're getting 70 to 80% of the carries, that's great. But as a receiver or tight end, you're one of 4 realistically, a few tight ends, a few slot or a few wide receivers, slot receiver, tight end, whatever it is. And the ball's kind of got to be spread around evenly, at least to keep the defense from keying on one guy. So I don't know. That's it's I think a more difficult road, but we'll see what he can do. James Boardman says Jalen Gramstead will make Heinrich a star. I think now y'all are just trying to piss off Minnie.
You guys, you don't understand. I'm on vacation. Good luck. I've almost finished this glass of wine. So
is that your first glass?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And look, I started into. You'll appreciate this, right? This is vacation food.
Things you can get away with on vacation that you would stay away from at home.
Yeah, never.
Never what?
I would never take this and start eating from it at home. I know you do. Have you had chocolate today? Any chocolate bunnies?
No. They had. So I went to a meeting earlier, and they fed. They feed the guys who show up, and so I had a nice plate of spaghetti and like a little, store-made brownie. So
that's it. Just a little store-made brownie.
Little store-made brownie. Kayla says, keep this going for at least another beer. Well, all right. Well, I mean, I'm fine with it, but we gotta.
We're
well,
good.
We gotta talk
We're good.
Oh,
we are good. Unless you want to, you have anything to say about Arizonans. Because I can take it on the chin. Not really. Be nice.
No, I really don't.
Okay, good. That's the right answer.
Jimmy McKay said Greg pretends the blue M&Ms are blue chew. Kaylee, let's save some of these hot takes for next week because apparently Minnie's not used to being in the Eastern time zone. So it's pretty late there. And we want to make sure that she gets plenty of rest so she can get up and enjoy her vacation with her family tomorrow. Right?
Yes.
Jimmy says, Arizonans, come for the low taxes, stay for the Social Security fraud. Is that a thing in Arizona that I don't know about?
I have no idea. I don't think we have low taxes. And I mean, I think they have Social Security fraud everywhere. So
probably.
Why not? Why not? Let's go with that.
Roger wants me to DoorDash some M&Ms. No, I'm not going to do that. Fred's leaving. He says he's going to bed, GBR, et cetera, et cetera.
Hi, Fred. It sucks having to get up and work. I know.
So do I, but I still do it on about 5.5 hours of sleep every day. So
yeah, I don't know how you do it.
I'm a highly functioning moron, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it. This is the first time in a long time that I can recall we didn't get to 11 o'clock Central. So I'm sorry. Or you're welcome, depending on.
You are welcome.
Depending on
the off season. Next week. Okay. If you guys want, we can continue this game. Because while I am, like Greg said, on the East Coast time, I'm in the South. And I have come across quite a few people with accents. So if you would like to hear my version of their accents, we can certainly go there.
That would be a fun
one guy I thought was from Australia. Turns out he was from North Carolina.
I'm not sure how you can get those two confused.
Me either.
Living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the Five Heart Podcast, is here at 10:41. Says, "What did I miss?" And at this point, we can say the show because
the entire show.
We're done. But Roger Moore says, "Great show," and we thank him. Jimmy says, "Minnie, who would win in a fight, a hurricane or Dylan Raiola?"
love that question. That's a good one. Dylan, of course.
Interesting. Husker Chuck says, Arizona, come for the nice winters, burst into flame in the summer.
That is true.
And Kaylee says, Arizona, where the sun will make you look 55 by the time you're 35.
That's true, too.
I'm sure there's probably some skincare routine or something to,
You just have to wear a hat. You have to wear a hat, and you have to wear a lot of zinc in your sunscreen. Like I put zinc on every day. And anytime I go outside, anytime, I'm not kidding, I wear a sun hat.
You did. Never mind.
What?
All right. Gonna switch to some classic rock videos. Peace out. 1970s child, Jack Lambert fan. Enjoy your classic rock videos. If you're still there, 1970s child, play some Kiss, Detroit Rock City. I played that for the boys one morning this past weekend, and Robert, one of the twins, he was like, yeah, getting into it. So Husker Chuck says Minnie's actually 12. Nope. And Rostowski's very confused. Why is Minnie's background different? You, again, missed the show. She's on vacation. You know nothing. You're late. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the Five Heart Podcast. We appreciate all of you. But before we go, I did kind of sort of, and I didn't make a promise, but I did say it's possible. So I will sing happy birthday to Melissa.
Yay.
All right. Let's get back a little bit. All right, Melissa, I hope you're still here.
Here we go. A 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3.
Are you singing or just me?
You.
Don't
I'm
count
your
me
backup
in.
dancer.
Don't count me in. All right. You're throwing off my timing. All right.
Can I just excuse myself? Can I have a full screen, Greg?
No.
Oh,
Nobody
sorry.
wants that. That's too much, Greg. All right. The song we all know. The song we're all this. Look, I'm singing it, Melissa, but it's from all of us here on Thursday nights. So for 6 days from now, you come back to this moment.
Me.
It's
from my heart, just not my voice. Trust me. You'll thank me.
I heard once that, about people who are afraid to sing because they don't think they have a good voice. It's like the Lord gave you that voice and give it back to him twice as loud. So, all right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melissa. Happy birthday to you. Nobody else ever asked me to do that again. That's just for Melissa.
That was really good, Greg.
Roger says, sing it before she has another birthday. That's good, Roger. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. That is officially it for this episode of the Five Heart Podcast. We'll be back next week for the final show of June. So until then.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Until then, be good to one another. Be nicer to each other than Minnie is to me. That'd be fantastic if you can manage it. Shouldn't be difficult. I take a lot of abuse here on Thursday nights. So
but it
my co-host,
brings me so much joy.
I'm glad it brings one of us joy. Brings one of us pain, and probably the reason why I drink on Thursday nights, honestly.
Yeah, but blame it on me.
For Minnie Hunt, I'm Greg Mahochko. This is the Five Heart Podcast, and we remind you each and every week that Five Heart is all the heart you need. Minnie?
And go Big Red. Don't forget to wear your sunscreen and your sun hats.
Go Big Red.